Hello and welcome. Today we've got Wanda Richert with us, and we will be discussing the return of the divine feminine and also the ascension. Now, just before we begin, you can subscribe to my Telegram channel and to nicholasveniamin.com for my free email updates. And I will also leave Wanda Richert's links below as well, so you can follow her. And if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will leave the link below in the description for the full interview, unless, of course, me and Wanda can agree that we can choose our words wisely so we can leave our video on YouTube. Unfortunately, due to the censorship that's going on, which is absolutely insane. Isn't that right, Wanda?
Oh my gosh, it is insane.
Absolutely.
And it took me a while to figure out what to talk about today so that we could actually leave it up on YouTube. So I've been doing my best to get the jargon down.
Well, let me tell you, you can talk about anything you want, as long as we can work around the words and be descriptive and use more ambiguous words.
Yes.
Now that the viewers know, and they know every time I do a video, I let them know that we have to be, we have to face these challenges. And it helps us with development of our characters. It makes us stronger characters when we work around the enemy. Okay. And we have to be diplomatic. Absolutely. And it's a great thing, But thank you so much for joining me. And how are you?
I'm terrific. Thank you so much. It's so good to see you again. We had a little glitch in our last meeting. We were just, as you and I were just speaking, my partner, Mark, and I ended up in a tornado thunderstorm situation. We lost power for 12 hours. So I'm just happy to be here to sort of pick up the tail end of what we wanted to discuss that day. And I'm just, I have to just toot your horn. I do, because I feel so blessed that my mom found your channel. You are truly probably one of the only ones out here right now really discussing solutions, which is why I wanted to talk to you today. And we've been sort of going over and over what's going on in the world. Those of us that know, we know. We're waiting for things to happen. But, I am finding, Mark and I are both finding that it's basically harder to get in touch with the influencers right now than it was for me to get a starring role on Broadway. They have been, it's concerning to me because we're all supposed to be working together. You do that. You have wonderful guests and, myriad subjects that you cover. And I find that a lot of the people, and I'm not putting anybody down, but I'm with the solutions I want to talk about today. This is one major thing that I would like to offer in case any of you out there that are really successful doing this, hear me. There have been many of those people that we watch saying that we need to get in touch with the smaller people, the smaller channels, go on interviews. And we can't get anybody to answer our emails, but you did. You did.
I try to answer all the emails, and I'm still going through lots of emails that I still need to go through. And it can be very hectic and overwhelming with the amount of emails that everyone receives. But
oh my gosh, yes.
And it's quite hard, but you're right. We should all be working together because, this is not Hollywood. I don't like all of that. So this is something that we all have to get together. We are fighting a war. We're online trying to spread the awareness. This is no glamorous platforms. This is not Hollywood. This is not, anything like that. This is purely taking over the mainstream media, discussing very important situations that people need to be aware of so that we don't lose our futures. Absolutely.
Exactly. And I feel that, we're humans. And right now, the ego is disintegrating with this ascension process. We're raising into a much higher place, which is why the chaos looks so bad. And it just ego, EGO, edging God out is what I always say. We can talk about God wins, #God wins, and we can say that till we're blue in the face, but unless we actually take a part in doing something about it, it can't become a business. I feel this is now becoming a business. And I've been at this for so long. I had a glorious career. I was so blessed to go to work doing what I loved for 35 years and getting paid for it. And I can honestly say that, I had tremendous success. But it was never really about me. The applause were nice, don't get me wrong, and the perks were nice. And I enjoyed that part of it. But there was nothing more satisfying than ending a 10-minute number in the middle of, we'll say, when I was doing Chorus Line on Broadway, and seeing the faces in the audience and knowing that I was partly responsible for taking those people away for 2 hours from their troubles, their worries. And it was so gratifying to do that. I feel the same way about this work. I have been just until Facebook started, doing its thing and we can't speak. Did I ever get pummeled with people from the theater, because they're left-wing liberals. And take, for instance, before we came on air, I was talking to you about the book I'm writing, From Broadway to Heaven, The Journey Back to My Soul. It's really about my opening night in 42nd Street back in 1980. We made Broadway history. I was 22 years old. And it's a story that's never been told. I've been trying to write it for close to 40 years, actually. I started right at the beginning and I could never find an ending to it because the love of my life, who was the director and choreographer, Gower Champion, died on opening night. I knew he was ill, but they didn't tell me. And so I found out during the curtain calls that he had died, and so did everybody in the audience. And it's an incredible story. I had finally 2 years ago, I had somebody contact me that was in the show. They took the trouble to come all the way from New York through St. Louis, pick somebody up, drive out to Kansas, spend 2 days with me. We wrote like crazy, editing for weeks. And then he saw my Facebook posts. And Showtime was interested, Viacom was interested. They were interested in a Broadway show about my life and that part of my life. And I got a text message basically saying that I was devastated when I saw your political views. Devastated. And I just can't align with anybody who supports Trump. And the book deal just went. I was so excited because the book has a purpose. It's not just about my story. It's about, my story is so storied. I almost lost my life to lies. And as I was telling you earlier, in 1999, I had what I consider a prolonged near-death experience. It wasn't your typical, go through the tunnel, see the white lights. I became gravely ill because of a number of other dramas in my life. And I was given the choice at that time to either stay and do what I came here to do or go and suffer the consequences on the other side. Mm-hmm. And I chose to stay. And during that time, my whole life changed. My whole connection with heaven, with God, with angels, you name it, folks that have passed on. It started happening while I was ill and healing. And then I had a miracle healing where Archangel Raphael came into my house. My daughter witnessed it. I told the doctors I wasn't going to take the medication that would surely have kept me from the theater or probably even alive because of the side effects. And Archangel Raphael told me I would be well again. So I told the doctors I was not going to do the medication. And about a month later, we took blood tests, and I guess you know the ending.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Everything was gone. Everything was normal. And you can never be the same when something like that happens to you. I went on a mission. I no longer wanted to go back to Broadway. There was no way I wanted to deal with that because Broadway had become pretty much a little mini Hollywood. And I just wanted to I gave my career back to God. And I said, I have done this for so long. I've been so blessed by this, but I'm giving this back to you. And I ask that you give me my life purpose. And that's when MySpace was going on and Facebook was just coming out. And I started posting, really inspirational things. I started with Daily Ohm. And then the whole truth started coming out behind the scenes. And the people from MySpace that had been speaking this truth took it all to Facebook. And we started just hitting the pavement, just sharing everything. And so I know that I've touched a lot of people, and that was the most important thing for me to do. And I want to continue doing that now, which is, it's hard. I was watching Catherine Edwards the other day. I just love Catherine and Janine with the tarot cards. All of that is so wonderful. They do really talk about what we can do to start changing our human behavior to make this process we're going through actually turn out in a positive fashion. So now I'm starting to feel my frustration with not being able to post where I'm used to posting is starting to happen with other people. And I'm like, well, as long as somebody's doing it, but I'm still frustrated. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. What we can truly do, every single one of us. You don't have to put up a channel if you can't do it or if you're not interested in doing it, but there's a form of prayer that we can all do. And it's maybe not considered praying per se, but it's manifestation. In 2008, after I had given, my career back to heaven, I went on a mission to become an ordained minister. And I felt that if I made that commitment, then I would be shown the way forward. Heavenly timing, because there's no time and space in the heavenly realms, is a heck of a lot different than down here. It's been over 13 years, and yet in that realm, it's like, the blink of an eye. So it's very easy to get tired, but we can't get tired. We have to pick ourselves up right now and really start finding a way to do it. It's the censoring with what we like to make this friendly for YouTube. My only concern about that is that the people that are just coming on board now don't know what we're talking about. So that's the other challenge, right? To really figure out how to use our words and still explain what's going on. Do you find that as troubling as I do?
I feel like they will have the opportunity to people who are waking up will be exposed to all types of videos on BitChute, Rumble, and on YouTube. I believe that they will be able to put the pieces together. The people that are waking up are having the opportunity to be shown documentaries like The Fall of the Cabal and other ones that are not as advanced as those, which are a stepping stone to help them wake up. And also I think it's people discussing it with their families and friends, and some people doing their own research, and some people who have been a little bit awake from before. So maybe and I always make it clear in the beginning of my videos that the censorship is bad. So I always say, if you're watching this for the first time on YouTube, I will put the link below in the description because of the censorship. So when I say that, they understand that we will be using words that will be more descriptive to describe the words that we are not really allowed to use. So it will be a bit challenging, but I'm sure they eventually get the message with what's going on. That's what I think. So what do you think is very important that you want to send a message? What message do you want to give the viewers in respect to what the ascension is about and what we need to be doing?
Well, first of all, before getting into the ascension, what I've been noticing is, everything is energy, vibration, and consciousness. Thoughts are things. And when you speak something out loud at this time, because of where we are in Earth's process of ascending into the light, the manifestation, good or bad, positive or negative, is instantaneous. I mean, I've seen this. I've been doing this for so long. I see it. And what I'm noticing now are, and without naming names, people I really love watching with my mom are starting to do hypotheticals. They're starting to say, well, if this doesn't happen, then this is going to happen. And there's the possibility that this might happen. And we might, this might be the shock heard around the world. It is so important to not do that. I cannot stress that enough. I know sometimes I drive my mom crazy because she'll say something. I go, cancel, delete that, St. Michael, get that out of here, because it's an energetic we can only, how can I put this? Let's take back when I left 42nd Street after my 2-year contract. I was still reeling from losing the love of my life. It was 2 years. I was still grieving. And my mom said, you know, Wanda, Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and Marble Collegiate Church are right there on Fifth Avenue. Why don't you go to his church? Maybe that will help you. So I did. And it took me one Sunday there with that incredible man. And I ran out and I got his book, The Power of Positive Thinking. And for the time I was out of work, I read every single one of his books, but that book changed my life. And what I learned from that, and it was not easy, was we tend to be negative. I don't know. I lived in an incredibly positive family. My childhood was amazing. I was empowered. There was not anything, no drama, but there's a tendency to do that. So I had to relearn the way I thought, the way I talked, and I had to forgive the people that I was blaming. And I had to learn how to forgive myself for the role I had in any of it. But it's like going to the gym. It's like being on a diet or, changing your lifestyle, eating healthier. It's hard to do it at first. But what I'm seeing so much of, almost everything I'm watching right now in the evening with my mom, people are talking about what could happen. And if we want to speed up this timeline, if we want to see these, the counting thing that's happening in Arizona, and the fact that hopefully, Mr. T is going to be, back with us possibly next month. That's all we need to focus on. We need to outpicture all of us that know what's going on. We need to outpicture exactly what we know the outcome could be. And the key to making a manifestation actually come to fruition and come into being is the gratitude you feel. I spoke about that in our last video. It's that feeling of when you've been praying and hoping and wishing for something so hard, begging God almost, which we can't do either. It's just pray with thanksgiving as if it's already happened. But what makes it work is that gratitude that makes you want to drop to your knees and say, oh my God, I can't believe this has finally happened. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. It's that gratitude that's the key to actually making it come into reality. And so my message would be, if we just all do that 24/7, wherever you are, you can be in your shower, in your car, at work, and whenever you have a moment, it's no big deal. You don't have to go through any kumbaya meditations. It's just feeling that you see Mr. T back in that house that's white, wherever that might be located. So we know it's not going to be where it is now. So picture it, whether it's Texas or Florida, wherever it is, whatever it is, picture that happening. Picture the elation of the entire world, because it's going to be the entire world, and feel that energy and then say, thank you. I am so grateful. It works. It works every time. The smallest things, if I truly need something, I've learned that that's truly prayer. It's not begging or asking or being fearful. I think the fear is what's holding everybody back right now. And so because of all the other stuff, the lockdown, and all that, the division because of that, people are fearful. They're fearful that they're never going to get their families back. I'm going through a little bit of that right now. Most of us probably are, where the fear can grip you at times. And if that happens, you have to immediately push it aside and just know that we can create this.
We have to look at the bigger picture and look at our souls, because our family is only our family in this lifetime. But in other lifetimes, and where we go after, our souls will have decided to move on to, other places, depending on what journey we're on. However, we're all going on the same direction, just different journeys. So, but absolutely, we should just let go of fear, close that television down, and just focus on what we want, be happy, be thankful, like you said, because I know what you're saying. You're saying that the practice of manifestation is the same way as praying.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. I I personally feel that it is the prayer that Jesus spoke of, praying with thanksgiving. We, I went through all kinds of different, born again Christian. I was raised Catholic. Then Marble Collegiate was a Protestant church. I mean, I never saw any difference. It was God, it was Jesus for me. And then that got expanded later because I've always had this unconventional relationship with Jesus since I was a small child when I had a vision of him when I was 7. And it's just, there is almost now, and I never want to offend anybody, but tough motherly love sometimes. I am a mother, and sometimes you have to speak your truth to your kids. And there are a lot of Christian religions, which are man-made, that take this praying with thanksgiving, and they begin to have their own language, and it can begin to sound cultish. And the people who get turned off by, let's say, there are people, myself included, call some people Bible bangers, Bible thumpers, because it's constantly that. And it's the type of prayer they do is thank you, Lord, for this, and we thank you, and we thank you, and it's just repetitive, and it's no different than saying a rosary prayer over and over and over again, but not having any feeling. When I became a hypnotherapist, the one single sentence that my teacher taught me that stuck with me, that is absolute truth, is feeling is healing. We have to feel it first. So if you just randomly it becomes rote. It doesn't have any heart to it. And so the thanking is not that. The thanking is in the gratitude that you have to. My website that's down right now, that Norman Vincent Peale actually, I hate to use the word channeled, but he channeled it through me. One day when I was blow drying my hair, he said, I was having a real hard time thinking of a name for my website. And he said, and it's not up yet, but it will be. He said, call it the power of positive pretending. And I dropped my blow dryer. I was like, oh my God, that's not positive imaging, like he said. It's not positive thinking. Positive pretending is like a child does in a sandbox. They just pretend things. Because people have a hard time with the word visualizing. I know my mom has said, I can't visualize anything. I said, I bet you can.
Well,
I bet you can. It's that pretending that, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I mean, some people, they like to feel sorry for themselves. So because they like the attention, and eventually they find themselves manifesting what they're doing, and they eventually, being depressed. So it's almost, when you're saying pretending, I understand what you mean. It's almost you're not brainwashing yourself, but you're programming yourself to think positively. And when we use our feelings, so if we think of someone we love, we generate a feeling, and then we can use that same feeling and combine it with something that we want to achieve. And what we're doing is, with the thought and the feeling together, sends out an energetic signal to the universe as like an antenna, instead of just using empty words. Because that's what we are with frequency. We're a soul. So our soul is like an antenna, and our thoughts is able to manifest that through our souls, because it comes from the eternal part of our beings, from the universe. And that's the gift we have as humans, to be able to manifest whatever the universe, whatever possibility the universe has out there for us. And we can then see it in our reality here on earth.
Yes. And speaking of souls, we all, people talk about having a soul. We don't have a soul. We are a soul. And there's a huge difference. We are a soul. And that's the other thing. It's basically why I left the church of any kind after all that happened to me, because there are so many hidden truths. That was the other topic, basically umbrella topic for today. So many hidden truths, so many things that have been kept from us to keep us from our true power. And I don't want to, I have a tendency to, go off on 10 different directions when I'm talking about this, but and again, I don't want to offend anybody, but religion, when way back in, I think it was 325, we spoke of this before, when Constantine held the Council of Nicaea and he manipulated the Bible. What he did was he denounced Arianism, which that could be a whole other show. But basically what they took out of the Bible purposely was reincarnation, which we're told doesn't happen or is of the devil. And whenever there's something that doesn't jive with the religious groups, it's always blamed on Satan. And so reincarnation and anything that had to do with the divine feminine, with powerful women. He took that out. And that's basically what Jesus was teaching when he was here. Because we do come back. I have past life recall. At one point in my life, I became a past life hypnotherapist with an incredible teacher. I went out to LA for a course on that. And I recalled, first of all, from the time I was 3, I had a memory of being on a stage somewhere. Now, I had never been to a theater in my life, but I used to go in the bathroom upstairs, and there was this little lift onto where the shower was. I would close the door and get up on there and turn around, and that door was my audience. And now, so is it Mozart? There's just so many people you could name. These child prodigies, they come in and they're 3 years old and they're playing concert piano. We bring our past lives, our recall from our past lives is subconscious. It's our soul. The soul has everything stored in there. And so if we excel at something, probably it's because we had a lot of practice in many, many lifetimes. We've all lived many lifetimes. And because I do have that past life recall, especially with Tahiti, even at 4 years old, I knew how to do that. It was just in my body. I remember drumming the ground with my feet, bare feet. And I know that that's what made me my lightning feet. I'm known for my lightning feet on Broadway. My tap dancing was definitely not something that I just acquired this lifetime. So it's tearing down the walls of the lies that have been put in place of the hidden truths that I think we need to start being able to discuss. As soon as you do, people call you crazy. But our souls know we were chosen to be here at this time. You had mentioned that last time. We all have a specific purpose, and no story or purpose is more important than the next. No person is more important. It takes all of us doing whatever our specialty is. It's just a lot of people have to find that now, I think, and then fit in to what we're doing.
Absolutely. I find it very difficult to believe that everything is being corrupted except religion, or except the Bible. And I'm a Christian. My family are Christians. We believe in Jesus Christ. Of course I still do. And, and I respect everybody's beliefs, but we have to ask ourselves, just because we have an emotional attachment with our faith, that doesn't mean that the deep state haven't tampered with the stories and the scriptures and what's available to us. If we think that, the Bible hasn't been, it's been untouched, then we have to think again. Why would the deep state just allow something like that going around? I just find it very, very difficult to believe. Now, my respect for God and Jesus is one thing, but the materials we have here that explains to us who Jesus was and what he was here for is a different thing. I don't associate the two together.
I don't either.
Because it's a material thing, and we have to be open-minded that maybe the deep state have tampered with it. And if we believe that the deep state haven't tampered with it at all, and it's been untouched, and we have the whole truth, and everything else is a lie, then I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that, something, everything is a lie, I mean, it
Everything
resonates with me.
and yeah, I mean, everything is.
But I'll tell you one thing. I don't feel guilty for questioning this because one, I don't have fear. I don't have guilt because I'm learning. And one thing that God knows that he knows that me and you are aware of and everybody else is that whatever the truth is, we love. We just want the truth. We will accept the truth. So we shouldn't feel guilty for asking questions. And I'm saying this because there's some of the viewers that they don't want to question this. And it's because we've been lied to so much from the deep state. So therefore the risk is so high. We have to question everything and what's kept in the Vatican that, they've kept from us. So we shouldn't feel guilty, but we should just understand that we want the truth and we love the truth, and God knows that. And the fact that we are searching the truth, the fact that we are listening to these videos and we are conducting these videos or participating in them means that we care about the truth and we care about love and God and our existence. And we want to eradicate evil,
And that is the whole point. Jesus was doing that when he was here. History's repeating itself. I have said exactly what you were saying. The past year or so, I've been, whoever will listen to me, I've said the single most difficult thing that's going to happen right now within the people that are awake, that know what's going on entirely. The Bible, that's going to be the brick wall behind you that they're going to run into, that is going to be the most difficult for them to tear down and open their minds about, because they think, like you said, they feel guilty in some way. They're offending God or Jesus. And that's not it at all. It's never meant to, with the light coming in and the knowledge, the sacred knowledge is coming in with people that hear it. I hear it. What's happened to me is profound. Again, I don't like to use the word channeling. I intuit. I actually hear things. I see movies in my mind. I'm told I have a relationship with people who have crossed over. I have a relationship with certain saints and certainly the angelic realm. And now the elemental kingdom. There's so much we're not taught about the hologram of everything. I also have a very special relationship with Mary Magdalene, and she has spoken to me many times. And she basically, the first thing she said to me when I actually heard her was, it's a holographic universe held together by love. And that is it. Love conquers all. Love is all we need to focus on right now. And that's what Jesus was teaching and doing and modeling for us when he was here. If he were here now, and he went into the temple and turned over those tables, if he were walking around professing everything that he did, and I'm not comparing him to Mr. T, but it's the same thing. They crucified him to shut him up. That was it. And then fast forward, I have been led to so many incredible books by Margaret Starberg, by an author by the name of Kathleen McGowan, who is a historian. It took her 20 years to write her trilogy, the Magdalene trilogy that she has. And she had to write it as fiction. But the history that I learned, and there were a couple times I had to stop and go, oh God, I've got to digest that one. I don't know if I really feel that. We didn't just arrive here without questioning things and going, I don't know if I believe that. And I think a lot of people do think that, not just with religion, with everything. But what ended up happening after the Bible was changed, if you go back, how many versions can there be when it was taken from the Aramaic? It was taken and it was put into the Greek Bible, right? So the Greek also had gematria along with it. So every letter had a number of the alphabet that went with it. And when it was broken down, they didn't translate that, but it wasn't meant to be translated then. So are you familiar with the Cathars in France?
No, not so much, no.
They were the followers of the way of love that Jesus was teaching. And Pope Innocent III, they couldn't quell this. This information about Jesus and what Mary Magdalene was teaching after he died in France, because that's very real to them there. They can tell you where she used to wash her clothes, where she preached, what he was teaching. It's history to them. It's not, some crazy conspiracy theory. Those people had to do the same thing we're doing. The Cathars had to engrave something in a rock that led into a cave. And if you were walking by and saw it, you knew there was a meeting in there, hiding out, because if they were found out, they were beheaded. And when they couldn't control the swell of what Jesus was truly teaching, Pope Innocent III had them, they willingly walked into the fire. They would not denounce Jesus. They willingly walked into the fire and were burned. It was mass genocide, and nobody knows about that. If you're not studying, if you weren't led to the things that I've been led to, he killed over 800,000 people who were truly teaching what Jesus came here to give us. And so, it's just, that's my prayer, is that the people that don't have an open mind to the Bible being manipulated begin to start maybe, putting their toe in the water. And that's something that I'm going to be bringing to the table. I'm just getting myself up now with a new website, shedthelightontruth.org. It just has a link to my Telegram channel, my Facebook page now, just so people can find me. But I really want to get into this, because if people knew the true love and the true power that Jesus came to teach us, so that we would be able to use it at this time, everything would change.
Mm-hmm. Also, some may argue that the reason why we don't know what Jesus was up to from the age of 12 to 30, they might say, well, he wasn't relevant and he wasn't the most important part that we should know. And people, a group of people decided what would go in the Bible and what would not go in the Bible. But my argument is, well, even if the argument is that it's not important from what happened from when he was 12 to 30, at least there should be a separate book where at least we have that general knowledge, that common knowledge that everyone needs to have about what Jesus was doing in those years. And we don't have that. So already there is deception.
And exactly. And why? Somebody has to know what he did.
And this is no disrespect to our faith,
or
to God not. Or Jesus. No. This is questioning and doubting what the deep state have been up to and how they've been manipulating humanity.
Since the beginning of time, pretty much, which leads into the ascension part of this discussion. I'm working on 3 books right now. And it's, all this takes so much time. I can't seem to get them finished, but this is more important. It's titled These Things and More, Moving Beyond Faith into Knowing. Now, this is my thought process when I really narrowed it down to how can I bring this to the public? Well, Jesus did say that. He said that all these things I do, you shall do also. And even greater things than these shall you do. Now, doesn't that give you cause to pause? What could we possibly do that is greater than anything that he did? First of all, we're not even doing what he did. I'm a healer. I've become a healer. I do much better work, distant healing. I co-heal. It's not that I'm doing it, but I am used as a conduit for the healing energy. He healed the blind. The lame walked. He walked on water because he commanded the elements and knew how to do that. We all know the stories. None of us are doing that yet. We're still relying on this and doctors and hospitals and treatments that don't work when we're dying and, all of that, instead of taking his word for it. So I feel if we're not believing him that we can at least do what he did, then we're calling him a liar. And that doesn't fit into the Jesus I know, because I have learned, he has shown me so many different areas to the energy with Albert Einstein and these books that I spoke of earlier. And then another wonderful teacher that deals with the violet flame, the sacred fire that we're not ever taught in religious churches, classes, fellowships, never talk about that. But okay, so we have that. We're not doing what he did. So now, what did he mean by even greater things? He had to go through what he did and resurrect his body. He wasn't alone in the tomb, from what I've read, but that's for another interview or book or whatever. But the fact is that power, that alchemy, that divine alchemy was used. And he literally, because there's controversy of whether he was really crucified and did he really raise himself from the dead. It did happen so that he could prove that even being battered and killed cannot take away your eternal life. And he needed to actually die to then ascend into heaven. So my whole thing is, greater things shall you do means we are at the time now during this ascension period of Earth into these higher realms of light, where we are being allowed to ascend without dying, without leaving our physical bodies. And that's why we all need to gather together. All of this that's happening is because this is truly happening. We've been working on this for years. I mean, the violet flame came into existence in people's minds because we didn't have internet even back in 1987 for harmonic convergence, when it really, this push towards 2012. And then, more disinformation, the end of the Mayan calendar. Oh, it's the end of the world. Everything is going to end. And people were freaking out about that. But all it was is that the Mayans couldn't see past that. And then we were working so hard on MySpace at the time and Facebook that MySpace might have even been down by then, that we made it through the shift. That was a true shift that only happens every several million years, December 21st and 22nd of 2012. And what happened is we made it through that shift, and Earth was taken off the wheel of karma and put back on the ascension into the light with the other solar systems. This is a grand experiment. We came here to help the fallen souls. We never knew it was going to be this bad. There were billions of people that wanted to come, but God chose the ones who from past lives had enough experience that we were going to be strong enough to get through this and that we would never falter. And that's why we're here. And that's why we're doing this now. So this ascension is about ascending our carbon-based bodies, all the fossils they find it's carbon-based. We're moving into, and I do exercises for this all the time, whether I'm walking my Greyhound, it's just constant with me, where I'm as I am lifting up, all life is lifting up with me, lifting into the light, because we're lifting ourselves into our solar light body, which is actually what Mary Magdalene saw when the tomb was rolled away. He was in his solar light body. That's where we're going now. And it's the only way to get there is to stop all of the division and just love all life free. It's not an easy task.
We have to let go of our egos. I was talking with my brother today, and we were talking about the Alex Collier interview that I had yesterday, which was very interesting. And in order for us to start remembering who we are or who we were, and to have these abilities to be able to manifest, we have to let go of things that do not serve us, like our egos. And we have to be in a more love frequency. And then we'll be able to manifest much more. And not once has the mainstream media in this crime of the century, have they ever said anything about love and frequency and prayer? Nothing. The only one person that has ever mentioned that was Mr. T.
Absolutely. And that is for real. That is genuine. And It's coming back.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
going to come back.
absolutely.
We are. I'm going to do everything I can, certainly, to keep banging my drum. I talk so much. I said, I used to get shushed a lot going through this whole process. I said, you know what? I'm just going to forget about all the other books I wanted to write. I'm just going to write a book titled Everybody Says I Talk Too Much, so I wrote a book.
Well, listen, I wanted to say, Wanda, thank you very, very much for coming on my show once again. It's been an honor. If you have any links that I could share, so I could put below in the description so that the listeners and the viewers can follow you or contact you as you wish, please let me know. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the viewers before we finish?
Oh, gee. The only thing I can say is please trust your intuition, turn off the television, and just be kind to one another. We need to just start being kind to one another and knowing that if we can just outpicture the outcome that we truly want to see, it's going to happen in the twinkling of an eye, just as was prophesied. And I just adore you, Nicholas. I thank you so much for having me. And God bless you.
Thank you so much, Wanda. Honestly, you're very welcome, and God bless you too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.